Hey everyone, back. I just made a video yesterday, but I felt it was kind of rambly and I didn't really get to my point of what I was trying to say. But anyways, if you didn't watch the video I made yesterday, it was about what's going on with comedies in the modern film industry and what's going on with genre films in general, really. And not just like genre like sci-fi, action, adventure, but like any kind of genre, like a romance movie, fucking biopics. I mean, biopics are actually getting successful, but like drama, comedy, etc., etc. Traditional movie genres are kind of falling by the wayside in favor of like hodgepodge ideas or what I would call Reddit movies. Reddit movies are where it's a comedy, but it's got a little bit of a nerdy twist to it, where it's a comedy, but it's also a horror movie. It's a romance, but it's set in the zombie apocalypse. I'm sure you've seen plenty of movies like that, and you can really identify it as soon as you see it, as it is literally a Reddit movie. You know when you're watching, you see it. But that's really not what I'm talking about. Let's go back to what I was saying, is that why there aren't any comedy movies. I made this point a little bit. See more. There we go. What I was saying was that not only are there not a lot of comedy movies, but there's not a lot of major big star comedians coming out. And that's part of the collapse of the star system. You can see that with like action stars falling by the wayside. But even then, like most of the Avengers guys are pretty successful. Well, like Chris Pratt will probably continue to be himself, just now for the record. But in general, like the star system, I'm sure if anyone who follows the movie closely knows that the star system has been completely collapsed in on itself. There is no name in Hollywood that draws audiences. The exception of maybe The Rock, and that might be left over from his wrestling time still. Dwayne Johnson might still have like, oh, he's in that movie, I'm gonna go see it. But I think more importantly for comedies, this is a bigger issue, because in like an action movie or like a sci-fi or a cape shit, you can replace the actor with basically anyone and people go see it for the story alone. The actor's essentially just props to set up the set pieces and the special effects and the dumb story, the dumb nerd culture story. Whereas with a comedy, you really need a central comedian to back that kind of film to make it entertaining. People want to watch it. Like, people aren't just going to go to a comedy. Like, I think this is pretty emblematic with the Ghostbusters movie. Like, people saw the original Ghostbusters because Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd were in it, as well as, what's his face? Ooh, I'm looking like a pleb here. Harold Ramis. Yes, Harold Ramis. People really weren't going to see it for Ernie Hudson, but whatever. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, whatever. So people went to see that movie because, guess what? People went to see Ghostbusters because there were funny guys in it that they liked. And all of those people came from Saturday Night Live, Second City, and to a lesser extent the National Lampoon, etc. But like you'll notice like as like go through the history of comedy movies, it's like the generation that's on SNL like 5-10 years beforehand eventually becomes the mainstream stars of the next generation. And that didn't really happen for any one of the last batch of SNL guys besides Will Ferrell. But he's like 3 decades now. I mean, that's crazy to think about, but once we hit 2020, he's going to be 3 decades out of SNL. And I should say SNL isn't the be-all, end-all for comedians and where they come from, and really it shouldn't be. Shitty fucking show run by a couple of really shitty, dumbass people who really don't get comedy anymore. I'm just going to say that straight up. But whatever the case, you're stuck with... So, the way... I'm going to compare it like this. I'm going to make an analogy. Good analogy. Okay? I don't know how many people here watch wrestling besides me, but the way wrestlers, like, become professional wrestlers is, there's little schools all around the country, and then independent companies, like little local towns, will hire them. They'll do a couple of matches here and there. And then, if they get good enough, they go to either NXT, or they make a huge name for themselves on the indies, and they go to side companies like New Japan, AEW, whatever you call it. But there's that cultivation line, where like there's like young people who get to go and they get to wrestle across different kinds of life. And because of that, they get to become decent wrestlers out there. They get to build their own star power. Now, for a while, SNL was considered one of those indie scenes, I would say. That and Second City, Mad TV, a whole bunch of smaller end TV shows where like the Cosby Show, stuff like that, where like you would go work in like a TV show or like a small end, like not small end, but like a lower stakes TV show where you could go and practice comedy with a lot of different people and you could develop a comedic style over time. For a screen actor, screen presence kind of thing. And with wrestling, you'll find nowadays, at least that's how it used to work for wrestling. Nowadays, it's a little bit different because thanks to, like I said, AEW, New Japan, and NXT specifically, talent gets poached all the time. And I like NXT as a company, but much like SNL as a comedy development brand, or in this case a wrestling development brand, they suck. It's an awful place. If you want to become a good wrestler, learn, like NXT takes you from being a fun star wrestler and it does not make bigger stars out of you. Like, with very rare exceptions, almost every single person who's come out of NXT is worse off on main roster WWE television than they were in NXT. And the people who like started and began development in NXT and aren't like already established stars to begin with, like there hasn't been one of those that has like really risen up and gotten popular. I guess Velveteen Dream has, but even then, like he's kind of like the only one. Like there's been hundreds of guys that go to their performance center every year, football athletes, you know, comedians, whatever have you, guys from Impact, and only the ones who were like super huge stars on the indies seem to be on NXT television a lot and seem to go up to the main roster. What does this have to do with SNL comedy? Well, much like wrestling, comedy needs a place to develop talent, and that place used to be small television shows or theaters or whatever. Nowadays, it's YouTube, kind of, but the problem is people don't treat YouTube seriously, and also people don't blacklist YouTube comedians left and right for saying offensive things, which would be totally fine on television 10 years ago. So people who are trying to develop a comedic style, people are trying to make funny things happen with themselves, people are trying to evolve into becoming talented comedians who can perform on the screen, are getting cut down constantly because their channels are either getting deleted, like you know who, or they're told that they're YouTubers so they're not allowed to be successful on TV, or they're shoehorned into a movie before they're ready, or whatever have you. And there isn't like a natural scale of growth. Like, even if you want to go way back to like good old days of wrestling, territory days, you start out, you work a small territory, then you work a bigger one, then you travel around, you start small in a small thing, and then you eventually gradually work your way up like a ladder to the wrestling echelon or the comedy echelon. Would essentially be being a comedic film actor, at least in terms of money. I mean, like, if you want to talk about artistic, I don't think there's nothing wrong with going on with comedy right now. Artistic, you know, people have way more options to express themselves. You can basically say whatever you want as long as you don't do it on YouTube. So you're fucked. By the way, but like 5 years ago, let's say, you could basically say whatever you want on YouTube, and as long as it's within the vein of comedy, you're fine. 5 years later, but because of this, but in terms of moving from YouTube to television and moving up the ranks, there's nothing there. There's no way to grow and develop into getting more skills or more connections, cultivating talent. And for movie studios, they're realizing that the people from SNL aren't the next generation of film stars. They're either washed up, or they're not funny, or they got put in a position there because SNL is very nepotistic now. Or they've either token shoved into spots, or they've been picked and choose just for like a couple of funny scenes, and they're really not that great or talented. Meanwhile, so what that leads is there's a big vacuum where they used to be able to like pick and choose, like, oh, where's the next Will Ferrell? Or specifically who I'm talking about. One of my favorite filmmakers of the 21st century, Adam Sandler, creator of such hit films as Jack and Jill, The Dunkin' Chino Scene, You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Grown Ups. Movies which, by all means, are incredibly well-crafted pieces of entertainment. Are now essentially Adam Sandler's career is dead now. I think we all can understand that. I think honestly, like, that Jack and Jill review by Half in the Bag really hit his career hard in terms of like online presence, and I think that like had created like a negative emotion surrounding Adam that has like pervade his entire career since then. Like, I don't think a movie's done well since that movie. I think generally people view Adam Sandler as lower class now because of that movie. Maybe it's because people saw that movie and realized it was terrible. But I genuinely think that Half in the Bag review hurt his career. And I like to make jokes about his old movies and like to bring up Dunkachino scenes and quote it word for word and talk about how I shouldn't mess with the Zohan. But there isn't a next Adam Sandler. Like, now that he's gone, there's not a next Adam Sandler to take his place, or next Will Ferrell. Like, people thought it was going to be Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, but they're not. That isn't the case. They're not making another Bridesmaids or whatever to, like, really sell movie tickets, you know? There isn't, like, an equivalent to the Adam Sandler of this generation to, like, go make a comedy movie. It's a little bit lowbrow, yeah, but it's a solid comedy movie that'll make money. There hasn't been that transition from previous generation to next generation, because where people got talent, specifically SNL, has gotten so shitty lately, so malproduced and misaligned, that they're forced out of making it altogether. Anyways, this has gone on long enough. I already talked about this yesterday. I just wanted to restate what I was trying to break down what I was really trying to say, because I kind of went off topic a little bit and didn't really focus in on what I was trying to convey properly. You know, you feel me? You feel me, dude? Do you understand what I'm saying? Can you feel me? Oh, my shirt's completely see-through. Isn't that funny? Haha, hilarious. Look, it's like I'm the Invisible Man. We anyways, look, it's like I'm John Cena. I turn invisible. Let me know what you think the future of comedy is down below, because I think I'm done with this topic for now. I don't think I need to go back and go further. I just figured I'd bring it up because I didn't think I properly covered it. But yeah, main point, breaking it down, very simple. Comedy movies are gonna be gone forever soon because there's no modern film star comedian. There's no, like, film comedian. Besides, like, I guess Kevin Hart. But he got fucking Me Too ever by the gay community. I guess The Rock, but he's more of an action star, you know? Like, Tyler Perry, I don't even know if he fucking makes money anymore. But, like, where are they gonna find the next person to replace, like, this generation of comedic film stars? The answer is nowhere. Because most of the innovative comedians are too edgy or stuck on fucking shitty YouTube videos. And most of the people who are like, and also, frankly, this is another topic someone brought up in the chat, but the comments with my pleasant and someone said that comedy has moved away from gags and jokes and strictly more towards memes. And that's true. That's 100% true. You talk to people on the streets, you ask people, go to talk to people, ask, well, what's funny to them? Like, they're gonna quote memes to you. They're gonna, like, say, oh, good, that's a good pupper, or, oh, that's me, oh, same, you know? They have, like, the colloquialism is meme culture and meme comedy is way more prevalent than, like, you know, a Chris Farley sketch or, like, a fucking Bill Murray type humor, punchline. So you're stuck with, so what that means is that comedy has moved away from something that works as a film or works as stand-up comedy. That's why so many comedians nowadays are so fucking weird and cringy and awkward, because they're trying to translate internet humor into real life humor, you know? And people have have abandoned essentially real life humor to such an extent that everyone's like, oh, internet humor is the way of the future, so we should all be moving toward it. But that's I don't want to say hubristic. What that's ignorant of is that you're going to eventually come to a point where, you know, because meme humor, not that it doesn't take work, but meme humor is so, like, non-human in nature. It's not, like, humanistic. It's very much like a series of images and ideas. Like, it can be, like, that's why dogs and cats were worked as so much as back in the past of the day. But it's not a human style of humor. It's very much like base, natural. Like it's not like clever, doesn't make you think. It's just dumb shit that like makes your brain go ha ha. It's very animal-like. So because of that, there's no need. Like realistically, a computer could produce me fine. Whereas a computer probably couldn't produce a stand-up comedy sketch right now. And so essentially what that means is that the human talent of stand-up comedy and like comedians in general is like shitty memes and trying to appeal fucking political too. And also the move to the political is also hurt, but that's a different subject. So that's why, specifically why modern comedy shows are failing, because they're not what people want out of comedy, not what they're offering. And what people want out of comedy isn't what can develop good comedy. That makes sense? But whatever. That's 15 minutes. That's good enough. Got any other ideas for something I should cover, let me know. Maybe I'll talk about fucking Star Wars like everyone else, because I'm a little piece of shit bitch. Maybe if I don't do that, maybe I'll talk about fucking video games next, because at least that's... Anyways, peace out, bro. See ya. Bro, peace out, brothers. See you around. HH.